got Lige Doozable. Got Mike Renner with the biggest thermos I've ever seen. And we're waiting for wait for a guy, Coop Patagna here. Hey, while we wait for Coop, Mike, I'll ask you first. I don't know how much you saw the first round. Any takeaways from what we've done so far?
Oh, I was gonna run in the card for James Pierce Jr. here, so a little sad because I got the Browns at 33. But I could not believe Derek Harmon falling to 31. Oh my Lord, I couldn't believe Pete. I think Pete forgot about it.
I can believe it. I can believe. No, Tyler Warren going 29 is criminal.
And that one too. Yeah, those two.
That is crazy. And I got Coop Patagnas here from 247. Coop, good to see you, buddy.
How we doing, guys? Good to see you, man.
Thinking he's going to move to right tackle is asinine.
All right. I think that's our cue to get going. All right, pick 33. That is Mr. Mike Renner. I snaked James Pierce Jr. from you at the end of the first round. That almost feels like it's going to happen if he's there for the Howie Rosemans. To recap quickly, they got Travis Hunter. So what do you want to do here, Mike?
Oh, see, I would have loved to take Luther Burden if they hadn't drafted Travis Hunter. I think I'm just going to go Josh Connerly here. I have him as top 25 player. You know, you don't necessarily need it right now, but with Jack Conklin's injury history, with the injury history of that entire offensive line at this point, he's just a guy that can fill in wherever needed.
All right, we're going to hopefully go faster than we went in the first round with Pete blabbing the whole time. But, Lige, I want to ask you, how do you Connerly feels a little raw to me, athleticism through the roof, but 33, does that feel too rich, right? What do you think?
No. I would have took him at the back of the first because of the upside. Okay. This kid is extremely young. And when you watch that game versus Penn State, I felt like he had the best game versus the guy who's some considered the best player in this draft in Abdul Carter. So the upside's there. You saw the Senior Bowl, him kick over to the right side. I think he may even be able to play some guard as well. So I think that's a great pick for the Cleveland Browns.
All right. I stand corrected. Next up, the New York Giants at 34. And they took Abdul Carter at the top of the first here with GM Pete Briscoe. How about that, Lige? You're Pete's assistant GM, so you get to make the pick in the second round.
I do, and they need a quarterback in the worst way. I'm going to go Kyle McCord here. To me, behind
let's go
behind Shedeur Sanders, I think he processes better than any other quarterback in this draft. Has almost like a Carson Palmer-like release throwing the ball, and I always like to see the mental makeup of quarterbacks. He went through a lot at Ohio State, and he was able to handle that adversity and lead Syracuse to double-digit wins this year. So I think from the neck up, he's a bright guy, a guy that can handle adversity, and they need a quarterback in the worst way because you cannot trot out Jameis and Russ there for the entire season and think you're going to hold on to your jobs next year.
So Coop, his job 8 months of the year is just portal stuff. So number one, I'm guessing you weren't shocked a year ago or back in December 2023, I guess, when Kyle went to the portal. Where did you have him ranked then? And obviously, you probably raised your eyebrow like you did everyone else's.
I wasn't doing the portal rankings then. That's a good question. I got to go back and I got to see. But I know this is a big win for you. What we have, me and Rick talked about Kyle McCord as a day 3 guy. And Leger got him one of the first picks in the second round. You know, he's moving up the boards, man.
Yeah, the arrow is pointing up. His, it feels like, not to dump on Quinn Ewers, but Quinn has battled injuries, and he was a first-round pick 2 years ago, and now Kyle McCord, here's his name called, at least in the 7th-round mock draft before Quinn. We'll see where that works out. All right, Coop, Tennessee Titans, and they got Cam Ward, so that's a great start. And by the way, guys, just so you know, the man responsible for Cam Ward going to the University of Miami, you're looking at him, Coop Patagna.
I don't know about that. I'm with Mike here. I'm kind of like, I'm fascinated in Luther Burden, right? What are you giving your young quarterback? But at the same time, I'm looking at a top 10 talent in Shamar Stewart still on the board. And I like the way that it kind of shook out. And I think Tennessee, they need some pass rush. I like this kid. I like him even more at this spot. I think this is great value. So you got your franchise quarterback. What this could be, we'll see. Only a sack and a half last season, but I love the upside here. I'm going to go Shamar Stewart.
Hey, Lige, 1.5 sacks last year. Get off the bus, looks apart, but how do you make that next step?
Yeah, so, Rod, we had the pleasure of talking to him at the Combine, and that was actually one of my questions because when you turn on the tape, he constantly gets pressure. He just doesn't finish at the quarterback. He plays extremely hard, is explosive. You see all the tangibles and everything. I think it's a mental block, right, because you can't really coach a guy to finish. Like, finishing is effort, right? And he doesn't have a lack of effort when you watch the tape. So to me, I think it's a mental block. Hopefully he can get over it because he can affect the quarterback and he plays extremely hard. But this is where I would take him in the second round because of the traits. I would not take him in the first round, though.
I do think that's a thing, though, that doesn't necessarily change. You rarely see change from college to the NFL. It's like kind of like tackling. Yeah. You rarely see a guy become a terrible tackler into Bobby Wagner, right? Like it's the finishing plays is kind of it's like a combination of like coordination, balance, a few other traits that just like you don't necessarily see on his tape much.
Yeah, fair enough. Hoop, you're back on the clock. You're the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got Mason Graham in round 1.
Yeah, they got a couple needs here: cornerback, offensive line. I talked to some people in the league. They said keep an eye on running back. So obviously, new regime there. Liam Cohen. I'm going Trevion Henderson here out of Ohio State.
Love it.
Wow.
Oh wait, Omarion Hampton's still there too. He takes.
I was about to say he's still on the board.
That's okay. That's why you're in the media, Lige. You're not in the front office. We got that one wrong. No, I love Trey Henderson too, and I give that young man a lot of credit for understanding that Quinshawn was coming over, and he shared those carries, and obviously they won a national title. By the way, we each have 8 teams in case you were just tuning in. So we'll be picking for 8 teams each throughout the rounds 2 and 3, and you can hit the like button if you sort of like what you see. And Mike Renner, Las Vegas Raiders. They have Ted McMillan at 6. There was some pushback in the comments from that because Ashton Jeanty was a popular choice here. Omarion Hampton's there. So here's the question I posed in the first round. Would you rather have Ashton Jeanty and Jaden Higgins, which was a suggestion, or would you rather have, in this case, T-Mac and Omarion Hampton?
I would rather have T-Mac and Luther Burden. That's where I'm going. Give me an elite
2
receivers.
Core.
Why not? You need multiple. All you have Jacoby Myers in that receiving core. It's one of the worst. It's probably the worst receiving core in the NFL right now.
But you got Brock Bowers.
I mean, do you want 3 receivers and Brock Bowers for Geno Smith? We can get a running back in the 3rd in this class. I like Omarion Hampton. I do. With the way the board's shaking out, the running back position, I'm probably going to get a Dylan Sampson in the 3rd or a Quinshon Judkins in the 3rd, and I'm happy as heck with that. I think this running back class is so deep. There isn't going to be a guy in the 3rd round that's like Luther Burden.
Stephen W. says Renner ain't scared. True that. I actually like this, man. And by the way, Eugene Cyril Smith III, he's going to be dealing, and I get it.
Yeah, he will with that.
Yeah. But since I'm picking for the Patriots, guess who's the real winner here? Drake May, because I'm picking Omarion Hampton, and I'm sprinting up to the podium to turn his name in. Will Campbell, Omarion Hampton. Hey, Lige, that feels like best case scenario for Patriots fans, right?
Without a doubt, right? There's some concerns with their running backs. Ramondre Stevenson struggles with fumbles, right? And so you get a guy like Omarion Hampton, who a lot of people have a first-round grade on. You got a defensive-minded coach in Vrabel coming in. He's going to want to establish the run to shrink the clock down and play good defense and also take some of that pressure off that young quarterback.
Yeah, I love it. All right, Renner, you're back on the board. You caught your breath there after 2 wide receivers. Chicago Bears, they have Ashton Jeanty at pick 10, which is crazy on some level. But what do you want to do here for Ben Johnson?
Let's see. Let's go. Obviously, with Jaquan Brisker and the concussions last year.
And by the way, just quickly, if you need to sort by position, Striker can hook you up there too.
I'm going to go Kevin Winston Jr. I love his game. I thought if he played this year, he would have been a first-round safety. It wasn't a fully torn ACL. It was only a partially torn ACL. He's got all the traits you could want. He's physical as can be, just a hard-nosed run defender to put at the safety position. If you have him and Jaquan Brisker, if Jaquan Brisker's back healthy, those guys are quite the Penn State duo.
Love it. All right, Coop, you're up for your New Orleans Saints. You quit them at one point. I hope to think you're back on the bandwagon with Kellen Moore. What are you doing for the Saints?
I am with Kellen Moore. Front office remains to be seen. We got to get some offensive line help. I think that's kind of where I go. You know, where is
Hey, Coop, sorry to interrupt you. Just to remind folks, Jackson Dart in a trade down, if you guys missed it, from 9 to 21. Yeah. The Saints get Jackson Dart in a first-round pick and a third-round pick in next year's draft to make our lives easier. But go ahead. Sorry.
I don't love my options here. I think there's another need. They need the tackle. I think they're really kind of in the tight end market as well. And I think Tyler Warren, they pick at 9. We'll see what they do with quarterback, obviously with the Derek Carr thing going on. I'm going to actually go Mason Taylor here.
I love that pick, man. I love that pick. He is Renner, you're a Mason Taylor guy, am I correct?
Nope, I'm not. I'm actually the opposite.
I am a Mason Taylor guy. I remember talking about this at the combine.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, that was uncomfortable for Mason Taylor if he's watching, but
Sorry, Mason.
You got a fan in Coop Patagna, and I think Mason's going to get a lot better too. So here's a question for you. Like, who in the betting markets? I don't pay attention to those. I think Renner, you have your sort of eye leaning that way. Like, who thinks Kevin Winston Jr. is going to go before Mason Taylor? I would imagine, just in terms of guys on the street. I think that's a pretty low percentage, isn't it?
Probably. I don't know. I think they're both kind of seen as midday 2 guys at this point. It's maybe a little early, but I think both are. I mean, they're both young guys, ascending athletes. We'll see.
All right, you're back on the clock with the Chicago Bears. Ashton Genty, you took Kevin Winston Jr. 2 picks ago, and back at 41.
Can I take a peek at what the defensive line looks like, or just both lines of scrimmage actually for them?
And while we do that, I'm going to read we did a quick poll, grade the Kyle McCord to the Giants at 34. 36%, that's the majority, or the plurality, I guess I should call it.
Get edge too. There.
Gave it a C, Lee J.
They gave y'all a C for the first round?
No, for your Kyle McCord pick at 34.
So
that's 30, pretty good, Lee J.
30% gave it a B, though, so it's close.
A passing grade.
Well, honestly, I was hoping that Jackson Dart was going to be there at the top of the second because that's where I would have went.
Well, the other thing is this. We don't know about these guys. And Kyle McCord, I will stand for him until the end of time. All right, what do we got, Mike?
Let's go Nick Scorton, the Texas A&M defensive end.
I like that.
Yeah.
Was in most, like top 10s heading into the season. I believe he's either the second or third. Like he's one of the 3 youngest players in this draft class. I need to look up some exact numbers on that, but he's 20 years old. Won't turn 21 until the season. So obviously, I think the book on him was he played heavy this year, was not as effective as he was the year prior. But the guy is, when you just watch him, you see heavy hands, you see a talented edge rusher who, not the elite athlete that you draft highly, but there's a path to him being a high-end player at the next level.
And I think you're right. I think he's dropped 10 pounds or so. And to your point, he's young. Montez Sweat needs some help at the other side. This is a fantastic pick. He's been going, I think you mentioned, going to these first-round mock drafts since September, it feels like. And there's a real chance he's there at 41. All right, dudes, you're picking for your New York Jets here. You got Kelvin Banks in round 1. What are you doing at pick 42?
So I go back and forth here. Could attack the interior of the defensive line, could attack the safety position. But I'm going to get Justin Fields a weapon. Jaden Higgins from Iowa State.
There he is.
I think he's going to pair perfectly with Garrett Wilson on the outside. He's a guy that can go up and get those contested 50-50 jump balls. He's a monster in the red zone. Ryan, 9 receiving touchdowns. All 9 were in the red zone this year. So you talk about instant offense in the red zone. And this is a guy at 6'4". It's rare to see guys that size be able to get in and out of their breaks like Jaden Higgins does. So I'm going to give Justin Fields and his offense a weapon with Jaden Higgins.
You've been on Jaden Higgins since the start. I'm not quite there yet, but look, it could happen. I don't think it's outside their own possibility. Him going 42, I feel a lot better about than Tyler Shuck going top 50, but I don't want to dump
taking an Iowa State receiver's job too. You hate to see it.
It's true. Crime. I didn't even think about that. Alan Lazard's still there. Yeah.
Yeah. Cyclone on cyclone crime. All right. You're back up at pick 43. Lee J, you got San Francisco, and San Francisco, who'd they take in the first round? Thank you. They took Walter Nolan. Oh, at 11. All right. What are you doing?
Can you, Debo, can you show me edge guys, offensive tackles, and interior offensive line? You know what? I'm going – show me corners too. You know what? I'm going to go Benjamin Morris here.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Hey.
Fluid athlete. They need another corner on the outside as well because they lost Travarius Ward in free agency. So this allows them to put Lenore back in the slot. They have Green on the outside. Now you put Benjamin Morris on the outside as well. And going back to last year, Ryan, you're talking about guys that were ranked high. A lot of people said this guy was going to go top 15 last year before the hip injury. That is probably the biggest concern with Benjamin Morris, but he's a fluid athlete, and he just never seems to be in a panic when in coverage. They need a third corner, and I think Benjamin Morris is the guy for San Fran.
Yeah, Mike and I were talking about him the other day on these team-by-team mock drafts, and the Ohio State game against Marvin Harrison Jr., I think that's all you really need to see. Mike, completely healthy, top 32?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't push back on that. And I gave Lee J a hard time about Jaden Higgins, but he convinced me about this next young man for the Dallas Cowboys at 44. They took Jahdae Barron in the first round at 12. I'm taking Carson Schlesinger at 44.
Mike,
I had him on top of my board. I had him top of my board at 45.
Mike, what my guy Carson? We're building from the back forward. Here we go. Carson Schlesinger out of UCLA.
You're robbing my board.
Former walk-on, and one of Coop's buddies that's on staff at UCLA talked about how he was like they knew Carson was great a long time before the rest of us did, and now we're all going to find out together. All right, Snakes, you got the next pick. Mike, you're at the Indianapolis Colts at pick 45. They took Tyler Booker last
Booker in the first. Can you just start scrolling down from this board and just see who we got here? Oh, man. I'm not getting super excited about any of these guys.
Not what you want to hear.
I mean, the Colts don't have a ton of needs, though.
Really feel
right? Like they I think hit their biggest need at guard in the first round. After that, they've done so much to this defense. That's why I was looking at linebacker. But after the top two, you can just the rest of this linebacker class, you can take whatever. Like I'm not sure we get a starter, like a true high-end starter, or like a long-time starter, or the rest of this linebacker class. It's just not that good. So I think if I'm going to go with my Chris Ballard hat on here, I think I'm going to go Savone Revel from ECU.
Nice.
He loves the traits, guys. And this is a freakishly long 6'8" wingspan. And now you got Juju Brents there. You got Charvarius Ward. You got some guys
long
there.
corners
Like,
on that team.
You have a stable now of guys that can play on the outside after last year when it was completely barren.
Yeah. I like Savone Revel as well, but it is funny. You're going to have 15 feet of cornerbacks on the outside with him and Juju Brents. Lee J, you were picking for the Atlanta Falcons, and Coop's coming up. He's got a couple picks back to back here. We didn't sequester him for he's not in the penalty box.
Not on.
Hey, I'll just say this: I don't know who you're going to pick here, but the fact that Emeka Egbuka is still there is pretty crazy.
It is, and I actually might take him out. The only thing is that I would put him in the slot, and they actually have a really good slot receiver already in Atlanta. Who did the Falcons take in the first round, Debo?
Michael
Williams. So they took their edge guy already. Show me the corners that are available. I'm gonna take Azariah Thomas. Long corner, physical guy that can man up and man coverage. That's where he lives at. People will talk about his 40-yard dash. He's one of the most physicalist corners in this draft. So you need a long, lanky corner on the outside to match up with some of those receivers in the NFC South. I think he makes a lot of sense as Azariah Thomas.
Okay. All right. So next up, Azariah Thomas, and next up, I'm the Arizona Cardinals at 47. I took Matthew Golden in the first round. There was some consternation about that from some fans. I think what I'm going to do here is take a guy that Thomas looked fast enough at the Senior Bowl. Stephen W. said, I thought at times he didn't look that fast, but he played fast on tape. So we'll see. For the Arizona Cardinals here, I was considering offensive line, but I think I'm going to take one of the guys who had the best Senior Bowls outside of Mike Green. I'm going to take Darius Alexander, Toledo. Defensive line.
I like that pick.
So
I like that pick a lot.
He is 25, but I don't care. I don't care about that. All right, finally,
not yet. In August, he will be.
Okay, sorry, I didn't want to make him older than you. As an old person, I don't like when people make me older than I am already. All right, Coop is finally back. He's out of the penalty box. Coop, you're picking 48 for Miami and 49 for Cincinnati. The Dolphins took Armand Membu in round 1.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a huge need. This might be just a best player available type of pick here. I'm going to go with Egbuka, especially with everything going on with Tyreek Hill.
That's a good pick.
I just think this guy's a safety net. Love him out of the slot, tough, high floor. Pro's pro. So I like Ibuka there. I think that makes a lot of sense.
And next up, you are the Cincinnati Bengals, who have Mike Green, who obviously fills the need at edge rush with Trey Hendrickson's situation in limbo.
Yeah, this is interesting spot here. I tell you this, I love the Chris Paul kid out of Ole Miss.
Ooh, cool, baby.
And I feel like he's such an AFC North type of fit. That being said, I want to give him a shout out because I don't know if I'm going to get to talk about him again. I'm going to go with Andrew Makuba out of Texas.
Oh, I love Andrew.
Yeah, so I think Cincinnati got a needed safety there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this, because I like him on day 2, but are you concerned about the size at all, Coop?
Not so far. I mean, not from what I've seen in terms of, what we've seen over college, Clemson, Texas. It's been a high-level player and a guy that started as a freshman, right? So just in terms of the production, what we've seen at the highest levels, I got to be honest, been a little distracted with the portal, so I haven't been diving deep into the tape on Andrew Makuba, but good value here in the second.
He had a great season and super smart kid for sure. All right, Mike, you're the Seattle Seahawks. And who did Seattle take in the first round, striker? Jihad Campbell. Ooh-wee.
Jihad Campbell. Woo. So that was probably that their biggest need. They have a need at corner too. Not sure I love the corners at this point in time. I'm going to go Donovan Jackson, though. He's going to kick back inside at guard.
Heck yeah.
Throw him in at left guard here at pick 50. They got pick 52 too. We can maybe hit corner there, or I actually have another guy in mind. Hopefully he doesn't go to the Broncos here.
Who is that guy? Just out of curiosity. I want to do anything with it. Who is the guy?
You'll see at pick 52.
I keep saying on the podcast with Rand that I forced myself to rewatch Draft Day just for the sheer silliness of it, and I sound like the Jaguars GM on not the real Jaguars GM, but the one on the movie where he didn't know what to do with pick 6 or whatever. So I had to ask Mike for advice. All right, next up, the Denver Broncos. I had them taking, if I recall correctly, Colston Loveland because both tight ends were still there, even though they have Evan Ingram. So let's see. Who is my top running back? Hit the running backs button for me, Striker. I'm a running back guy here. Okay. I'm taking Quinshon Judkins here, and I feel pretty good about it. Give him a big back opposite Jaleel, and sort of something with the head Javonte Williams before he got hurt. All right, next up, Mike, you were back on the clock for Seattle.
Perfect.
Who'd you got?
You did pick my guy. I'm going Kyle Williams, the Washington State wide receiver.
You could have told me that.
They have a receiving core that consists of a couple of 4.6ers in Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. They see some speed, right? You run the risk of, they got MVS too, but let's be real. MVS at this point in time ain't striking fear and too many guys. So Sam Darnold's like, what did he do last year? Threw down the football field. You need a deep threat. So Kyle Williams, one of, if not the best deep threat in this class.
All right, back-to-back picks, LD. You have Tampa Bay and you have Green Bay. Tampa took Max Hairston, which was a Pete Prisco pick there. So what are you going to do in round 2?
You know what? I was going to tell Debo to bring down the edge, but I don't even need to. Give me JT, man. Tui Molo, wow. They need another edge guy. Now, they did sign Hassan Reddick, right? They have Yaya Diaby, but I've been in Todd Bowles' system. He needs at least 3 guys that can move around. So Yaya Diaby and I believe JT can kind of play that joker spinner role on third down more specifically to get after the quarterback.
All right, and you're the Green Bay Packers here, and I'll get Mike's thoughts as a Packers fan. What do you think of Will Johnson in round 1?
Will Johnson, I'm very happy.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There's concern about the speed.
Yeah.
All right, what are you doing in round 2 to make Mike happy?
I was going to say go to edge, Debo. See who's left. Oh, you know who I'm going with right here, right? Give me Femi Oladejo.
What are we doing?
This is a guy, when you look at Abdul Carter, right? I think behind him, he has the highest upside at edge because he only played 1 year on the edge. Right. He was the off-ball linebacker. And then at the Senior Bowl, me, Mike, and Ryan were there. He put on a pass rush display. Like he literally lined up and down the line of scrimmage. He rushed inside. He rushed outside. And then he did linebacker drills as well. So this guy can do multiple things for your defense. So I don't even think he's close to what his ceiling is going to be.
Could not agree more. Mike, you have back-to-back picks. You're the Chargers at 55. They took Kenneth Grant in round 1. Mike's in the chat, by the way. The board's just following that way. Love it.
And the board fell great here for me with the Chargers. I'm going to go Braden Swinson, the LSU defensive end. It's 60 pressures this past season. I think he trailed only on his pass rushing win rate in true pass sets, trailed only Abdul Carter in college football. That's good. That's good company to be in.
So the Chargers got Grant, and now they have an edge rusher. Yeah, absolutely. All right, and the Buffalo Bills are on the clock. They got Malachi Starks at the bottom of round 1 somehow.
Oh, yeah, I'm back on the clock with the Bills. Excuse me. All right, so got Malachi Starks. Let's see how the board. Like the Bills are such a weird team. They have so much like depth, and they have so many picks that I would hope they'd trade up in this draft to go target some players. I think defensive lines where I'm looking though for them, just to add more names, is the guy we keep picking for them, Ryan. And is Alfred Collins on the board here?
Oh, my guy Alfred, come on, he's there.
This feels like Alfred Collins territory. And let's go Tyreek Williams. Actually, I have Tyreek Williams higher. No. Sorry to do it. The name popped out there.
That's okay.
Tyreek for the Bills.
Yeah, I said oh no because I was thinking for Tyreek for Carolina, who picks next here, but that's okay. I'm all I got this. Don't worry about it. I seem nervous, but I'm really not.
You got this.
I got this. Trust me. Famous last words. All right, let's go. I think I'm gonna take Landon Jackson here. Get some edge rush help in Carolina. Got Jalen Walker, and you can move him around. He can play on the edge, but I like Landon Jackson. We're gonna do the Mike Renner doubling up at positions, but this time edge rush, off ball for Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker. So Landon Jackson. Next up, Coop, you are the Houston Texans.
Yeah, we'll see. Just in terms of how this one falls, I'm going to go with Isaiah Bond here. I like this kid a lot. I think he's very dynamic. Obviously, you got everything happening off the field right now, so that's kind of wait and see mode. But this is a guy, just knowing what I know about him coming out of high school, I think there's so much more untapped potential of what he can be on the Sunday level. I think he's going to be a lot better pro than what he showed both at Alabama and Texas. I don't think, we got the full nut out of him. So I like Isaiah Bond here in Houston.
I think you were only competing with the Bengals for his talents here before day 3.
Trey Scott says in the chat, controversial, but so much speed. And look, we don't know all the off-field stuff. I mean, we know some of them, but we're just sort of focusing on the on-field productivity. And when I went back and watched Bond, because we talked a lot about Matthew Golden, when Bond was healthy, he was actually electric. But there's going to be some issues, and could be a Jermaine Burton situation, to Mike's point about how and where he ends up. But on the field, he feels like a sort of a Tank Dell type player and what he can do, but we'll see about the off-field stuff. Pick 59. They took their guy. The Ravens did, Lige, Donovan Ezeraku in round 1. What do you want to do in round 2?
In Ravens fashion, I'm going to stay in the trenches, but I'm going to go on the offensive side. Jonah Savania, offensive tackle from Arizona. You're going to move him inside the guard.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike, I got you, brother.
Good pick. No, it's a good pick.
That's a Ravens pick all the way, man.
Yep.
This guy's going to move inside. He's going to be a people mover.
All right. Good for you. Next up, Detroit Lions. Luckily, we got our guy in Gray Zabel in the first round, so I don't have to worry about you messing up my draft. Next up, it's funny. In my 3-round mock draft, Femi Oladeja was here, but you took him unceremoniously. So let's look at defensive line real quick here. Let me see who I want to take. Oh, you know who it feels like a guy? You know what I'm going to take?
Do it.
Yeah, he gets some Lee McNeil vibes from me. CJ West. Come on down.
Ooh. I'm not mad at that pick.
I like CJ West.
Thought you would maybe attack the edge there, though.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but we're gonna attack through the middle. We'll get the edge in a second here. All right, Coop, you are the Washington Commanders. They somehow got Tyler Warren hanging out there at the bottom of the first round. So good luck topping that pick, Coop.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep adding for Jaden Daniels here. I'm gonna go Dante Thornton Jr. Just watching him again today, I thought the tape really
Ryan
popped.
loves this kid, yo.
Guy that I was familiar with. We recruited at Oregon. Dynamic, hands are a little bit up and down at times, but just in terms of verticality and the speed, he's an explosive, dynamic kid. So,
and I thought his hands were better this year than they had been previously. And we've talked about him, both Mike and Lige. He ain't 185. He's every bit of 200 pounds.
He's a big.
No, he's a big dude. Well, I actually like that pick too, Coop, because they lost De'Ami Brown, who was their down the field threat. They did bring in Debo, but he's more of a gadget guy. So now you get Dante Thornton, who can really, blow the top off the defense.
Dante Thornton is why I think and I maintain that Matthew Golden's 4.29 is fake, because when you watch Dante Thornton run, you're like, that guy is fast. Like that guy can. When you watch Matthew Golden run, you're like, at no point are you like, whoa. And when you watch Dante Thornton run, you're like, whoa. That guy, when he gets up to top speed, it is freaky stuff.
Matthew Golden just minding his own business, and Mike's questioning that 4.29.
You're taking shots at my guy, ain't you?
Over here.
All right, Mike, you are the Buffalo Bills. You have Malachi Starks and Tyleek Williams. You're picking at the bottom of round 2 here. Excuse me.
Can I take a look at corner and offensive line? I think that's where I'm most interested in for this Bills team at the moment. All right. Oof. Ooh, you know who let's go. Yeah, let's go corner. Let's go Darren Porter. At this point in time, we could take a big swing on a guy's freaky athlete, because they don't have, between Tron Johnson, Christian Benford, they don't have that high-end man corner, right? They don't have traits. Darren Porter has traits. So we'll take a swing. You got to guard guys like Xavier Worthy. You got to guard Zay Flowers to get to the Super Bowl. Let's get a Darren Porter to do so.
Yep, former wide receiver. Needs to get better as a tackler, but I think he's just sort of learning that position, and the athleticism is through the roof bonkers. What I'm hearing, Lige, is that he runs as fast as Mike thinks he runs. He's none of those fake times with Darren Porter.
Yes, he's a real force.
All right, 63. You're the Kansas City Chiefs, Lige. And they took Derek Harmon at the end of round 1. Sorry.
Yeah. Give me cornerback and offensive tackle. You know what's crazy? Me and Ryan had this discussion the other day, and we were saying literally halfway through round 2, maybe early round 3, there's going to be a big drop-off with corners. So they may actually go like a lot higher than people think they will go.
Mm-hmm. Gets thin. I agree.
I'm going to go Ozzie Trapilo from Boston College.
Okay.
They've had issues at both of their tackle positions. They brought in Jalen Moore from the 49ers, but they still have struggled at the right tackle with Jawan Taylor. So I think Trapilo is a guy that could play potentially, or even compete with him to play this year at right tackle.
Love it.
I kind of got Andrews Pete vibes there.
Oh, that's a good call.
Really? I worry about he doesn't really bend, Coop. That's my issue.
He's so high cut. Like he's 6'8".
Yeah, he's 6'6". Yeah, or he's 6'8". Yeah.
Well, you just took him in the second round.
Him. Oh, you're talking about Trapilo? I'm talking about Ariante.
Oh no, he said Andres Pete.
Andres Pete.
Oh, okay.
I was comparing Pete to the tackle from BC. That's what we were talking about, right?
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, LD's calling out his guy he just drafted. I said, that's a bold move.
No, I thought he was talking about Ariante.
Love that big stiff guy I just took in the second round.
Mercery is still out there, though, to your point. Here we go. James Pierce Jr. fell to the Howie Roseman Eagles at 32. Xavier Watts. Don't overthink it. Mike's guy, Notre Dame.
Howie Roseman does it again.
Safety at the
Howie
end of
Roseman
round
does
2.
it again.
Oh, look at that. David Lewis. I heard you. I was looking at Latham Ransom as well. He said in this mock, Eagles should get Xavier Watts or Latham Ransom. Only spot they actually need a starter. And you ask for it, you get it. The Fighting Mike Renters send
the Fighting Mike Renters.
Xavier Watts to the Fighting Howie Roseman.
You just call me Irish?
Huh?
You just call me Irish?
No, you're the Notre Dame. You're the Notre Dame. Face Notre Dame on this podcast. Okay. Round 2 in the books. A little quick recap here. At the top, Josh Connerly Jr. Mike did that. LD loved it. Kyle McCord, I can't not laugh every time I see that. Goes to the Giants. That is Crazy Town, USA. Coop takes Trey Henderson over Marion Hampton to the Jacksonville Jaguars at pick 36. Down for the New York Jets, LD takes Jaden Higgins. And this is probably the spot where he comes off. Ben Morrison, the other Notre Dame guy, goes to San Francisco with the next pick from Lige. I took him a guy, Carson Schlesinger, to the Dallas Cowboys at 44. Snake Renner on that one. Let's see. Oh, Renner took Kyle Williams at pick 52 to the Seattle Seahawks. And that very next pick, JTT, Tuimoloau, goes to Tampa Bay. I love that pick as well. Coop takes Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, I feel like I'm already having buyer's remorse on that. Just
That's a saucy
based
pick.
off of
58.
You can't have that, Coop.
If he,
convicted in the player, the off-field stuff. I got to admit, my
Right.
team still needs. We're still digging in on the character here.
well, here's the thing, though. At pick 61, where he took Dante Thornton, and a lot of people watching this may not know Dante Thornton unless they're SEC/Vols fans. He's and this is not disrespectful. He feels like a poor man version of Brian Thomas Jr. in that if you want an inside fade for a touchdown, Dante Thornton is your guy. But he's legit. To quote Mike Renner, he is legit 4-3-0, and that's going to be fun.